Harry's Wife, part 69.5, Backlash. You should apologise. We now move to skynews.com.au. Yes, we're going to Australia to learn what they have to say in a news article. As always, the veracity of the information I leave to you to determine. I provide you with the analysis. And an article by Brianna McKee tells us, Royal expert reveals Harry's wife hoped for a royal apology after tell-all Oprah interview. Well, first of all, the mentality of you should apologise is determinative of a narcissist, particularly the mid-range one. Lesser narcissists are more brutal, more direct, more rudimentary, and ordinarily would say you'd better or else. When it comes to mid-range narcissists, they're more passive-aggressive, and it's more a case of, you should do these things for me. You should do this if you love me. You should do this if you care about me. You should, because you have an obligation towards me. And again, of course, it's driven by that sense of entitlement and the necessity of asserting control. And it's born out of the high-handed arrogance that is exhibited. The belief that the world revolves around the narcissist and people ought to do all of these things. And of course Harry's wife is no different, whereby she forms the view that notwithstanding that she had trashed the royal family in the tell-all Oprah interview, that she then believes that she is entitled to some form of apology. Hypocrisy of the highest standard. The article tells us, in a difficult year in which the Queen lost her husband of over 70 years, Harry's wife reportedly was expecting an apology for her treatment by the royal family. Now, from her perspective, understand that she truly and genuinely believes that she has been hard done to. She doesn't sit there and think, I know I've made up a crock of shit in order to smear these people and to draw pity plays from the rest of the unwitting populace. And therefore, I'm being a bit of a numpty, really, in wanting an apology, but I'm going to do it anyway. No. She truly, honestly, and genuinely believes that she's entitled to that apology. Why? Because her view of the situation, the interaction, is such that viewed through her narcissistic perspective, she is the victim, and the royal family are the perpetrators. She is unable to see that she has misrepresented what occurred, in instances telling untruths and lies. It is her truth. She genuinely believes it. Her narcissism makes her believe that she is the one who has been hard done to, who has been offended, who has been trashed. Her narcissistic perspective, by utilising the half-truth, for instance, by twisting the inquiry about the skin colour of Archie, causes her to believe that this was motivated from a position of racism, rather than it being an innocent inquiry in a similar vein as to, I wonder what the child's eyes colour will be, or will he have his dad's hair? The fact that she believed that she was unsupported, when in actual fact, it was her behaviour that caused people to back away from her, to refuse her, to say no, that she regards that as being unsupportive. Her narcissism edits it, causing her to be unable to see that she caused the problem in the first place. And I direct you to the video, The Truth, the Half-Truth, and Nowhere Near the Truth, to understand more about that particular phenomenon. In her world, people were obstructive for no reason, unhelpful without cause, difficult, unsupportive, and harsh to her. Her narcissism must make her believe that she is the victim, for in so doing, it then motivates her to seek the prime aims, unconsciously, of course. She sees the royal family as cold, uncaring, aloof, yet the evidence demonstrates that they welcomed her into the royal family with open arms, accommodated her. Various members look to guide her, assist her with regard to her assimilation into the institution, which of course is never easy for somebody who isn't from that background to begin with, and also somebody from a different cultural background, being American as opposed to British. There were obstacles that any individual would need to surmount. But her sense of entitlement and lack of accountability, and the unconscious drive to assert control, meant that she immediately clashed with people. The Duchess of Cambridge, for instance, with Prince William, with courtiers, staff, gaining the reputation for bullying and so forth. She can't see that she was the problem. She would view herself as, I was making sensible suggestions. I was trying to modify matters. Why shouldn't I have those things? After all, they should accommodate me. She can't see that she was being overly demanding. She can't see that she was trying to change things that shouldn't be changed. She can't see that the demands that she made were unfair. She perhaps couldn't also see that some of the things that she sought just couldn't happen. It puts one in mind of Veronica Salt from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, stamping her foot and demanding that she gets one of the geese that lays the golden eggs immediately, stamping her foot and engaging in a tantrum. I want it all, I want it now. After all, wasn't it Harry who said, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets? He was already alive to the type of behaviour, but he couldn't even see it, because he was blinded by his own emotional thinking, and he facilitated that attitude that she adopts and maintains. The article from Sky News continues, a royal expert has revealed Harry's wife was banking on an apology from the royal family in the wake of her bombshell interview with talk show host Limp Celery Stick Oprah Winfrey. Royal author Tom Quinn said the former actress was horrified by the royal family's negative reception of the interview, which she believed should have prompted compassion. And of course, she can't comprehend that their reaction was entirely commensurate with having lies told about them, misinformation spread, and generally being smeared. Again, acting with that high-handed sense of entitlement, lack of awareness caused by a lack of accountability in the absence of emotional empathy, she truly can't comprehend that they would be offended by what she'd done. Instead, not only is she unable to realise that they would be offended by what she'd done, she also thinks that they should be apologising to her. How she behaved was akin to me walking up to you, punching you full square in the face and demanding that you apologise for your face getting in the way of my fist. That is what she has done, and that's entirely typical of our kind. We do what we want. We cause the problem, although most of our kind don't see it that way, and you're the one that should be apologising. Because we only did what we did to you because you started it first. You're the problem. Our narcissism edits the scenario to generate the view that you're the problem. Hence, our actions are justified. Harry's wife didn't sit down and think, okay, how can I cause some shit for this family and make myself look good and get people on side? I know, I'll make up this idea that I was suicidal. I will twist it so that people were being racist about Archie. No. Her narcissism did that instinctively. It caused her to believe that that person was being racist when they were not. It caused her to believe that she was suicidal and unsupportive, even though the evidence was to the contrary. Because that then motivated her to put on the performance, although she viewed it as genuine and realistic, in front of Oprah Winfrey in the What? Interview, so that her narcissism ensured that it got what it required, the prime aims. She asserted control, got fuel, and residual benefits. The article continues. The Duchess of Sussex famously accused the royal family of racism during a highly publicised interview with talk show host Oprah Winfrey, which later secured an Emmy nomination. In those months when I was pregnant, there were concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he was born, Harry's wife said. That conversation I am never going to share, Harry told Oprah. Really? Well, we'll see. And added, at the time it was awkward. I was a bit shocked. During the interview, Harry's wife also claimed she was on the verge of suicide, saying her mental health deteriorated to the point she didn't want to be alive anymore, but was refused help. She spoke of her loneliness and lost independence upon joining the royal family, and claimed she went to the Palace Human Resources Department, but nothing was ever done. Royal expert Tom Quinn spoke about Harry's wife in a documentary titled Meghan at 40, The Climb to Power, where he claimed the Duchess was expecting an apology. I think she was hoping for an apology. I think she was hoping they would phone and say, "We are really sorry. We now see that we pushed you too far," Mr. Quinn said. We should have behaved differently. We should have sat down as a family and discussed your mental health issues. I think she was horrified afterwards that the reaction was so negative from the family and they didn't respond in the way that she wanted. Social media users quickly took to Twitter to express suggesting the Duchess of Sussex should be the one apologising to the royal family for undermining the British Crown during the interview. Maybe she should issue a formal apology for all the lies she told in that interview, one Twitter user said. I'm just glad she never got an apology, another pointed out. That's the part that is eating her up. Like, how can't they not fall on her knees and apologise to her? Apology for what? A third asked. Nothing but lies and untruths in that interview. If she didn't want to cause trouble, she wouldn't have gone on national television. And of course, just the anecdotal response there from 3 individuals demonstrates that more people continue to see through her behaviours. The backlash continues. The hypocritical behaviour, the sense of entitlement, is being recognised, whereby her desire for an apology in circumstances where she should be the one apologising just sums up very neatly her narcissism in action. The article continues, Buckingham Palace issued a 4-sentence response to the Duke and Duchess's accusations of racism and poor support during their time as working royals. The whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and his wife. The issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning, the statement read. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, his wife and Archie will always be much-loved family members. And as I mentioned at the time, that was an entirely appropriate response. Once again, the narcissistic credentials are demonstrated, with this high-handed arrogance of expecting an apology where none is due. But remember, from her perspective, she's not making this up. She truly believes that it should be provided to her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.